Did a recent supernova have major consequences for life on Earth? Two nearby supernovae exploded about 2.5 and 8 million years ago could have resulted in a staggered depletion of Earth's ozone layer, leading to a variety of repercussions for life on Earth. In particular, 2.5 million years ago, the Earth was changing dramatically. The Pliocene, which was a hot and balmy epoch, was ending, and the Pleistocene, an era of repeated glaciation known as the Ice Age, was beginning. Natural variation in Earth's orbit and wobble likely accounted for the change in climate, but the simultaneous event of a supernova could provide insight on the diversification of life during this epoch. This supernova is thought to have occurred between 163 and 326 light years away. That's 50 to 100 parsecs from Earth. For perspective, our closest stellar neighbor, Proxima Centauri, is 4.2 light years away. Consequences for the Earth? Supernova can sterilize any nearby inhabited planet that happen to be in the path of their harmful ionizing radiation. Could nearby supernova wreak havoc on the existing biology of our planet? One researcher wanted to find out. Dr. Brian Thomas, an astrophysicist at Washburn University in Kansas, USA, modeled the biological impacts of the Earth's surface based on geological evidence of nearby supernova 2.5 and 8 million years ago. In his latest paper, Thomas investigates cosmic rays from the supernova as they propagate through our atmosphere to the surface to understand their effects on living organisms. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. And looking at the fossil records during the Pliocene-Pleistocene boundary 2.5 million years ago, we see a dramatic change in the fossil record and in land cover globally. Thomas tells Astrobiology magazine that there were changes, especially in Africa, which went from being more forested to more grassland. During this time, the geologic record shows an elevated global concentration of iron-60, or 60 Fe, which is a radioactive isotope produced during a supernova. Now, we are interested, he said, in how exploding stars affect life on Earth, and it turns out a few million years ago, there were changes in the things that were living in the time, Thomas said. It might have been connected to this supernova. For example, there was a change in the abundance of species during Pliocene-Pleistocene boundary. Although no major mass extinction happened, there was a higher rate of extinction in general, more speciation, and a change in vegetation as well. Not quite so deadly. How would a nearby supernova affect life on Earth? Thomas laments that supernova often are exemplified as supernova goes off and everything dies, but that's not quite the case. The answer lies in the atmosphere. Beyond sunscreen, the ozone layer protects all biology from harmful, genetically altered ultraviolet UV radiation. Thomas used global climate models, recent astrophysical chemistry models, and radiative transfer, the propagation of radiation through the layers of the atmosphere, to better understand how the flux of cosmic rays from supernova would alter Earth's atmosphere, specifically the ozone layer. One thing to note is that cosmic rays from supernova would not blast everything in their path all at once. The intergalactic medium acts as a kind of a sieve, slowing down the arrival of cosmic rays in radioactive iron rain, 60 Fe, over hundreds of thousands of years, Thomas tells Astrobiology magazine. He explains higher energetic particles will reach Earth first and interact with our atmosphere differently than lower energetic particles arriving later. Thomas's study modeled the depletion in ozone 100, 300, and 1,000 years after the initial particles from the supernova began penetrating our atmosphere. Interestingly, depletion peaked at roughly 26% for the 300-year case, beating out the 100-year case. The high-energy cosmic rays in the 100-year case would zip right through the stratosphere and deposit their energy below the ozone layer, depleting it less, while the less energetic cosmic rays arriving during the 300-year interval would deposit more energy in the stratosphere, depleting ozone significantly. A decrease in ozone could be a concern for life on the surface. This work is an important step, he said, towards understanding the impact of nearby supernova on our biosphere. This is what Dr. Dimitra Atri said, computational physicist at Blue Marble Space Institute of Science, Seattle, USA. Mixed effects. Thomas examined several possible biological damaging effects: erythema, skin cancer, cataracts, marine phytoplankton, photosynthesis inhibition, and plant damage at different latitudes as a result of increased UV radiation resulting from a depleted ozone layer. They showed heightened damage across the board, generally increasing with latitude, which makes sense given the changes we see in the fossil record. However, the effects are not equally detrimental to all organisms. Plankton, the primary producers of oxygen, seem to be minimally affected. The results also suggested a small increase in the risk of sunburn and skin cancer among humans. So, do nearby supernova result in mass extinctions? It depends, says Thomas. There is a subtler shift. Instead of a wipe out everything, some organisms are better off and some are worse off. For example, some plants show increased yield like soybean and wheat, while other plants showed reduced productivity. It fits, Thomas stated, referring to the change in species in the fossil record. In the future, Thomas hopes to expand on his work and examine possible linkages between human evolution and supernova. The work was supported by NASA Astrobiology through the Exobiology and Evolutionary Biology program. This is by Julia de Marianas Astrobiology magazine on Bended Reality. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support.